Hello, everyone. This is Wafa Halam from Inside Arabia, and I'm waiting to be joined by the beautiful Ala Hamdan, who is going to talk to us about her experience, her filmmaking, and mostly about her social activism on the subject of Palestinian rights.
Hello, Ala
Hello,
Hamdan.
how are you?
I am great. Ala, let me first make sure that I'm pronouncing it right. It's Ala, right?
Yes, you're
Yes,
correct.
like,
Everybody
yeah.
says I have to put the double A at the end, but my mom did not agree when she wrote my name on my passport, so we'll
That
go
was
with
exact.
mom.
I know exactly what that is. It's the same thing with Wafa.
Yeah,
Our
well,
names,
exactly,
our first names end
exactly.
with the same. And so in America, of course, everybody calls me Wafa. But yeah, and I sometimes wonder if I should add another A to it. It's so nice to see your beautiful face. I have watched you so much.
Same to you. I'm bored of my face. I'm so bored of my face.
Well, you shouldn't
Thank you
be.
for having me.
I am so delighted. Listen, what you have been doing, Inside Arabia has published an article about
Thank you for
you
that.
and Muna Hawa and Muna Kurd, and we are in awe of what you're doing. Women's voices are extraordinarily valuable, and you're so outspoken and so articulate, and so your heart comes through.
Thank you
And
so much. I hope so. I hope so. Thank you so much. It means the world to me.
that's the most important thing. I mean, I know we can have all the facts in the world, but when our heart isn't there, when our feelings, to me, that is the most important thing. So I'm going to start with this, Ella. I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself because I want all the little girls out there who watch you to know and identify with you a little bit. What is your
Um,
background?
my name is Ala Hamdan. I'm Jordanian Palestinian. I'm both, and I'm really proud of both of my chapters of my life. I lived half of my life in Palestine, the other half in Jordan, and I'm a filmmaker. I have a production company and a visual storyteller. So basically, social media was the fun part of where I put my fun content, and but my main work is production, so on ground behind the camera. So having my face and the live session for 8 hours in a row was too much for me.
Right.
But I was enjoying this in a good way, although the scenes were hard. But I was enjoying that it was creating an impact on lives of people in Palestine.
Oh, you sure made an impact, my dear. It was
Inshallah, inshallah.
ex
I,
ex
it wasn't only me, because I'm here to speak for myself, but I always say, please, when I say I, put like 1,000 names next to my name because we had people from Jerusalem, Gaza, people from Jordan, people from Kuwait, from all over the world participating and being part of this. So please put thousands of names next to my name.
You're very humble, but we'll take that. It adds to your qualities.
Mhm.
When did you begin to become aware of the issues of the Palestinian rights? I mean, it's one of the things that is propagated, by Israel and many in the West that after so long, the new generations are going to forget about Palestine. Uh, that
Yes,
is the
sir.
irony of
Yeah.
it's been thousands of years for them, and they still, feel that they belong to the land. So it's kind of ironic.
Yeah. I mean, so we hear this a lot that the younger generations of Palestine will forget what's happening, and the occupation is really building itself on this dream that Palestinians will forget their right to return. And I think this media revolution just proved the exact opposite because when we are live on Instagram, we are basically live on a platform where younger generation are. And
Yes,
TikTok, I mean, I don't know how to scroll and use TikTok still. And so it's
neither do
definitely
I.
for a younger generation. And still they were like, posting every hour, uh, telling the people and showing them what's happening in Palestine. So we did not forget, and the media, we were just using different tools. We might not be able to go to Palestine to prove that we did not forget, but we use the tools that we have. And I was really, really proud of, or even the teenagers that I don't believe they know exactly the impact they left by, making a hashtag trending, but they definitely changed a lot of decisions. They definitely opened a lot of eyes.
You are talking about an understatement. It is, people are literally talking about a revolution, really what's happening. Perhaps the awakening that happened, at least in the United States, with the George Floyd, which anniversary of his death, unfortunately, was yesterday. The Black Lives Matter and the notion of equal social justice and racial equality has been so important. And I think that it sort of made people aware that you cannot be fighting for just one issue. If you're going to be talking about social justice, it has to be at a universal level. And certainly the first thing that comes to mind is the Palestinian issue.
Yes. People looked at the Palestinian issue as a political cause. It's politics. I don't speak politics. I don't like politics. But you just said it. The Palestinian issue, we wanted people to look at it differently. And as human rights, basic human rights, and to show the world that their stories, when someone is killed in a mass shooting in America in a school, which is terribly bad, we know their names, their history, their hobbies, their life history. But when Palestinians get killed, we don't. So that's why I always say, put a name and a number, put a story on the name, because this helps tell the narrative, the Palestinian narrative that is missing from social media. We don't have the budget that Israel puts on their media, but we might have the voices and the number of people that can help with that.
You certainly have the voices. You're a storyteller. You say that time and again, and I completely agree with you. I think that people identify with people, not about events out there. They're too far removed. But by putting a story, a face, a name.
Exactly.
I mean, you watched The Present, I'm sure, right? The movie, the short film that has been nominated for many awards.
Definitely. And it's so simple. And it's like, people living there maybe never thought it could be a film. I mean, this is exactly what's happening to them every single day, not being able. شباب, I will say this in Arabic. بنصحكم تحضروا فيلم اسمه الهدية, بتلاقوه على نتفليكس. فيلم فلسطيني بيعبر عن معاناة على الحواجز. And it just reflects everyday life. And for me to see it in a film, I swear I cried at the end, because it's not just a film. It's way more. It's just Palestinians lack the tools to tell their stories. They don't have enough support, enough platforms. So just a fridge. All he wanted is a fridge, and he had to suffer to get that. And it's very, very, very deep.
I cried too. I cried my heart out. I felt the humiliation, the frustration, the stumbling, on human dignity. It was just everything in just such a short film, and with such a short, just a slice of life. And you, my dear, with all your gifts, this is what you're going to be doing. You have to help do this kind of thing. Go, to those lands, talking about people's experiences. That has a huge impact.
I just hope that we never forget that every number, there's a name behind it, and for every name, there's a story, and behind every story, there's a whole family that was hoping that this story would come true one day. So the suffering is huge.
It's because the Palestinian narrative. I mean, Palestinian voices have been silenced in America. Absolutely. I mean, you hear all the time about the Jewish trauma and the Holocaust, which is all good and well, obviously. But Palestinian voices and the Palestinian narrative there has been almost, I wouldn't say almost, there has been a deliberate desire to completely erase it out of existence. And that is where I think the young people today, your work, what other people, other ladies are doing. I think women, perhaps because we go to where it counts, which is the emotional.
Yeah.
You know.
And today I shared a post that I shared last year. It was about Iraqi woman. Oh no, Afghani, I think. Afghani. So the hospital got exploded, and kids who were just like few days old had no mothers because their mothers were killed. So other women, out of emotion, went to breastfeed these children. And I would say, when people tell you're emotional, it's a good thing. It's not just emotional. You're emotional, and you're like very reasonable at the same time. It's not like one of them. And because these women were emotional, they were able to give life to hundreds of kids in the hospital because they were driven by these emotions. And that's what I say about women supporting the Palestinian cause. Yes, if it's emotion that will show what's happening in Palestine, let it be. If it's my tears, let it be. If it's my screams, let it be. And Mona Al-Kurd is a great example of public emotions on her stories, where she does not leave one curse out of her dictionary, but still she reflects the real suffering of Palestinians. You know, she's not a diplomat, she's not a politician, she doesn't really count the words she's saying, but she's real, and she's reflecting reality. And when she cries at the same, because she did not get shot, but if she gets shot and she cries, or any other girl, she cries, but then she stands up and she protects her brother and her mother. So being a Palestinian woman, you don't have the luxury of just crying in the corner. You don't have the luxury to just being sensitive. You have to be strong. You have to be defensive. You have to be firm. So it's a interesting mixture.
But you can also cry and show your vulnerability and show your feeling, because as human beings, and you as a filmmaker and a storyteller, you know that those emotions that you share with other human beings, because it's one energy.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to tell me words. I can feel your pain.
Yes.
You know,
and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to be able to show your emotions and not being afraid of being judged by them. Because if you judge me for crying for getting shot or being attacked, then you have a problem.
Yes. Definitely. And this is probably what led us to the kind of dysfunctionality of the world, where everything is about rational discourse. And so we put out big articles and we explain all the situation. But, you know, people read the first 2 lines and then put it aside, or, you know, watch the news. That it's so sanitized and everything. But look what really makes a difference. I mean, it's really, yes, you can show those cameras showing the brutality that those people are suffering, the indignities, the humiliation, the knee on the neck, so to speak. You know, that's really what makes the difference.
Yeah,
and we have.
And so yesterday I was in a live session. I was telling people why I think the lives went viral, and a lot of people were encouraging us and other thousands to do them more. I would say because we did live the situation in raw footage, untouched materials. And this is rarely what we see on traditional media platforms. Because even which I do support a few channels because I do respect their content, I know a lot don't, because they feel that they belong to a specific government or agenda. So when we go live, we basically tell them we don't belong to anyone. You know, we're live, you can't touch anything, you're there for you to judge. And what's interesting is that you usually see people fighting over Palestinian content when it's a picture, because like, oh, Palestinians sold their land, no, Palestinians did this and that. But when they went live and saw Mona Al-Kurd and her family fighting for their land, they were not able to fight that. They were not able to lie about that, because no, she did not sell her land. Watch her live fighting for her house. So I hope this really, really opened eyes and gave even, what do you call it? Gave younger generation stronger arguments to defend Palestine.
Yes, and you know, this is in the face of a lot of I would say a backlash almost, you know, of the Western media, the mainstream media, who at first really kept the situation hush-hush, didn't even want to approach it, because there is so much condemnation every time you just raise the issue of Palestinian rights. And so what this forced them to do is that this then played catch up with you guys.
I love that. Exactly, because the first few days they did not expect that coming, and then suddenly it's trending. I remember say Sheikh Jarrah that Min Al Kurd started it. I think it was 300K trending on Twitter, and then 2 days later it was 1 million and a half. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
And we were on it, and Palestinians from all over the world, not just Palestinians, a lot of supporters from all over the world were on it. And then Israel felt, oh my God, worse. Like,
Yes.
they are actually doing good job at presenting their own cause. And one of the Israel channels was saying that we need $1 billion to fight the Palestinian narrative that was shared in the past few weeks. I'm like, I did not get paid for that $1 billion, but I'm really happy it's worth $1 billion.
Yes. It's really interesting to see how can we now not drop the ball? How do we continue this? How do you intend to do that?
I think I was writing about that 2 days ago, because I remember waking up at 10 a.m. and I got some messages, angry messages, saying that there was an assault in Al-Aqsa, assault at like 7 a.m. when you were sleeping. You were not able to cover it. And basically, I literally went to sleep at 6 a.m. And you were talking to me yesterday, same time at 6 a.m. So I went to sleep 6 a.m., woke up at 10 a.m. and I missed it. And I'm like, I physically can't. Like, I physically couldn't go live at 7 a.m. It would have been over 25 hours of me being up. And I was writing to say that what happened is amazing. What happened opened a lot of eyes and changed a lot of lives. And even if it calms down now, the people who knew the reality of Palestine will still know it. You know,
Yes,
even if not, they're not. But we do need budget. We do need equipment. We do need logistics to support what we're doing. And individual effort is good, but it can't, run forever.
So that's your next task, to raise the funds. I mean,
Yes.
there are independent organizations to do that. You can ask if you go online and you fund a campaign to maintain awareness of what's happening in the occupied territories and in Gaza. Did you think about that?
I agree with you 100%. I think there are already few campaigns running, but I don't think they realize the power they had until this media revolution that the people did on media. They're like, wait, we could actually get funded for what we're doing. Yeah. And a lot of platforms that were now they're paying Palestinians to create content on Palestine since it's a trending topic. So more content. So eventually, even if they get paid, that's good. We get more content out there. So I think it's becoming there that the Palestinian content needs logistics, it needs equipment, it needs budget. It's becoming more obvious, and people are really moving. And I've witnessed a few initiatives starting, and I think once they grow, it will become official, and they will like grow into an organization, hopefully, or being adopted by an organization. I personally did not start any initiative to raise funds, but I'm trying to be in several initiatives that are working towards that.
Right. I understand that I was looking through I felt a little bit like a voyeur, but I went through on your Facebook page to try and find out a little bit more about you. And you don't share very many personal things, but you do share a few things. And one of the things that struck me was you talked about your village, or is it your village or your parents' village, and about the dress and how to preserve that history. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and what you?
So I lived in Palestine for 16 years in a city called Al-Bira. Al-Bira is right next to Ramallah, and my wedding was in Jordan, and I really wanted the Palestinian theme to be part of my wedding. So we had, you wear a white dress. So I had it for an hour, but then I had the traditional Palestinian outfit for about 6 hours of the wedding. And I felt like this is really me. This is really me, because Palestine is it's not just blood and war and death. It's
exactly.
beauty, it's art, it's dresses, it's music, it's a lot of beautiful things, and I wanted
Family and joy and food.
happiness, food. Oh my God, yes. And I wanted that to be reflected in my wedding for my kids to see one day that, you know, you always have to, you know, you can be proud of your country in all aspects. You can be sad for your country. You can be proud of your country. You can enjoy the arts. You can mourn. You can do everything that you need to do to present your country wherever you can. And I think my favorite paragraph in my wedding was the Palestinian songs, where we had like a traditional dancing of Palestinians, traditional outfit, because it's really, I felt nostalgic because weddings in Palestine are really different than the ones in Jordan. And I tried to bring a little bit of it to my life, to my wedding.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Those are the kinds of things that I think matter because, again, the erasure of history is really something that is drastic. It has been happening for so long, so it's almost like reviving it. It's a revival of that history now, a preservation of it, and there's so much that can be done. How do you encourage you? I mean, you have a vast following. Do you find a lot of understanding and people understanding and wanting to do that and following your example?
It really scares me to be an example, and I try to tell people always that I'm not an example. I'm just one of the people that supported the cause in her own way because, you know, the Palestinian cause is a really honorable thing. And I don't know yet if we can balance between having a person that is imperfect, that has their own personal issues, and holding this important cause. I don't
Ala,
know.
that's not, no, don't separate them, Ala.
I don't want to,
no.
but man, I don't want to. Like, I want to be this imperfect person that has, like, you know, that wants to travel, eat, and sing and do whatever, and supporting the cause. But can I be held responsible for my personal issues being reflected in the Palestinian cause? I feel that it's a big responsibility. I yet don't know how to deal with it, to be honest. And I try to tell people I'm not the face of the cause. I'm just one of the engines, one in thousands. And the engine might break at some point and get fixed. But I really hope that, I'll tell you this. One of the imams in a mosque, he was speaking about people who drink. And he's like, yes, some of the guys who drink were actually in Al-Aqsa. They don't pray. They drank, but they were there to defend Al-Aqsa. And he of course did not say, yes, go drink. He said, like, it's haram in Islam. But he did say, you don't have to be perfect to stand up for what's right.
Absolutely.
And it really touched a lot of young generation because they felt they need to be perfect to be Palestinians. And they're like, no, you can be whoever you are and still stand up for Palestinians. And this brought a lot of, you know, high hopes for more generation and more younger people to join the club.
Well, that's precisely what makes us human, Ala. I mean, it's our imperfections.
Yes.
It's our vulnerability. It's you're very humble, but it's okay because every hero is that way. They're heroes despite themselves. You become the face of a movement, you and Muna and others, obviously. But it's important, and I think to me the fact that you are women is even that much more important because, as we all know, you've heard, you know, the Zionist, you know, discourse that women in the Arab world are you know,
they're like in prison. They can't speak up. I mean, you did not watch Muna's good story then.
Yes, it's exactly right. So you know, you're showing a different face. That no, we're Arab women, and we are wearing our hijab proudly, and we are making our choices free of any constraint.
Yes.
And we have something to say that is valuable, and that is. It doesn't matter how imperfectly you say that.
Yes. I need to clarify something in Arabic, if you don't mind, for the audience.
Please do.
Yes, thank you so much. بس للتأكيد أصدقائي، الشيخ حرم الخمر، بس قال إنه في ناس بيشربوا أو بيأرجلوا أو بدخنوا بس كانوا يدافعوا عن الأقصى. وهذا للتأكيد الشيخ حرم الخمر، بس عم بيقول إنه في ناس حتى الصيع دافعوا عن فلسطين لأنه القضية وقضية الحق لا تتطلب أن تكون الإنسان الكامل، وكل شيء عقابه على جنب. مخالفتك للشرب عقابه على جنب، بس دفاعك على القضية كمان جزاءه على جنب. بس حبيت أكد هاي النقطة. So let's go back. I'm sorry. I think
No,
it's important
oh
because
please, Ala. I was gonna say this. I see some questions pass by, and I'm actually going to stop and introduce you to some of our English-speaking people who don't know you. But yeah, I also see the Arabic questions, and even though I'm not as good as reading them as fast as you, please answer. Interrupt this and answer them. Yes, this is a conversation. This is not a one-way street.
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I want you to take charge if you want. You're much better at
Yeah,
this than I
I'm
am.
like join, tag, comments. I'm like
Multitasking.
I do it with closed eyes.
That's what women do. Multitasking. We're breastfeeding the baby and you're serving coffee. That's what we do. For our American and English-speaking audience that who do not know this beautiful guest that we have today, her name is Ala Hamdan. She is Arab, Palestinian, Jordanian, American, I think so too.
Yes.
And so she's a citizen of the world, and she's proud of her heritage in Palestine, and she has been doing a phenomenal job introducing global audiences to what's happening currently, unfortunately, but what's been happening for many, many years now, 73 years really, and telling the stories of the voiceless, speaking in the voice of the voiceless.
Also, audience want to know to hear from you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Wafa. Wafa and Ala. I'm Wafa Halam, and I'm also so it's also funny that my last name is also Halam and you're Hamdan. Yes, and I am a Moroccan American. I've been living in the United States for a very long time, and I'm editor-in-chief at Inside Arabia, which is an organization that is staffed entirely by women. Most of them are Arab Americans or Arabs, or and some Americans as well. And we really devote ourselves. Our logo is really the voice of the Arab people. So it says it all. Basically, we want to bring the voices of the Arab street, the Arab people, to the mainstream. We want to tell the stories, but of course, we also have to talk about what's happening, what the governments are doing in the region. And we're very, very proud to try and be a bridge of understanding, because we cannot have any peace in the world if we don't understand each other.
Definitely. And I think what you're doing is amazing, especially focusing on women. So you have all my support forever. That's it. I'm sold, man. I'm sold.
Thank you. I know we spent so many of our profiles on women because again, it's just the stereotypes are a problem. And I know, Ala, you fight the stereotypes all the time. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Especially, I heard you also speak about your hijab on social media, and how people react to it. So what can you say to our audience about it?
So basically, I was raised that there's haram and halal, but there's no aib. And the culture of aib is basically created to attack women more than men, or put women, draw limits around what women can do. So my dad was basically saying, if it's wrong, it should be haram. If it's aib, it's up to you to decide if you want to go forward with that or not. So this gave us the freedom of choice that a lot of people did not have